Get ready to say goodbye to temperatures like this, as we're going to see a major change in the overall jet stream pattern that'll bring some much colder temperatures down out of Canada. In fact, the latest from the Climate Prediction Center, the 6 to 10 day outlook, is showing areas stretching from the Midwest down toward Texas and the Southeast seeing below normal temperatures, while areas out on the West Coast from Washington State through California seeing areas running well above normal. But before we get there, we must deal with some very heavy rains across the deep south, as well as some very heavy snows across the Four Corners region. So let's get ready for that roller coaster ride as we wrap up winter 2024 and get ready for spring. All of this and more coming your way next. Welcome back, everybody, to the Weather Nerds YouTube channel. I'm your host, Greg Majeski, making a difference one subscriber at a time. And if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, please consider it. Just give me a thumbs up, like the channel, hit that subscribe button, and if you can leave me a comment down below, I really would appreciate it. This product is here to serve you guys, all right? We're taking a look at the current weather pattern. We're looking at the water vapor imagery right now here across the United States, and we got a bit of a trough coming out of here in the west. We got a big ridge here out across the eastern two-thirds of the country, responsible for the very mild temperatures we're going to see over the next couple of days. But we do have a big pattern shift coming our way. So let's go ahead and take a look at the latest model data and go ahead and take a look at that jet stream. So we're starting out by taking a look at what's going on way up in the atmosphere, about 30,000 feet. That's that river of air called the jet stream that drives that weather across the country. So let me zip on out of here and let's take a look at how things are going to progress with the change in the overall weather pattern. So we're looking at here on your Tuesday as we've got this kind of deepening trough here that's coming in across the southwest. And that's going to kind of pinch up into a cutoff low, but it's also going to allow some big time ridging to take place up in here. That's going to allow the jet stream to really dive across the eastern half of the United States as this ridging that's coming kind of been in place in here. It's going to be beat down and allow that cold air to dive in out of Canada. So let's go ahead and take it into the future, shall we? Let's go ahead and progress this as we go throughout the day into Wednesday and Thursday. You see that cutoff feature taking place there across areas of California and down toward the desert southwest of the United States with that low pressure. You notice the high pressure, that's up above the area of low pressure, allowing that jet stream to really go way far into north, going in across Alaska and the upper portions of the Canadian provinces. And that jet stream is going to really dive down south big time as we head into this upcoming weekend and into early next week. You notice the configuration here is we've got a big ridge here on the west and a big trough deepening here across the eastern half of the United States. That's going to allow that much colder temperatures to plunge down, crashing those heights and bringing in some active weather. We'll watch some from rain and a few thunderstorms across the southeast. And then this will settle up for a very cold early portion of next week. We'll see freezing temperatures. Areas across the southeast will probably get their last official freezes of the season, most likely with this, as this begins to move in heading into Monday and Tuesday. And then by the time we get into the middle of next week, it starts to move on out. And then we'll watch for another little disturbance down here across the subtropical jet stream that'll kind of kick in toward the end of the 10-day forecast period here. It'll track in across the southwest, and some of that energy that was part of that upper low right back through here starts to kick on out and across the southeast, bringing another round of rain as we wrap up the 10-day forecast going into the middle and end of next week. So we're going to look at the 500 millibar height anomaly. This is another indication showing that pattern shift coming our way as we're going to watch again this cooler pocket. That's the blue in here. That's your lowering heights. That's going to dive in here across the southwest. Here is the high pressure ridge. That's the warming heights. It's going to shift up here toward the north, and we're going to see this begin to evolve. And watch this cutoff low feature. It shows up very nicely here on the 500 millibar. You see that blue section there kind of burying itself there across areas of the southwest right through here. And you see the warming heights here with high pressure up here across the areas coming in off the Canadian west coast and coming into the Canadian provinces. And what's going to happen is we're going to set up and we're going to charge some of this cold air is way up here to the north as that ridge gets stronger, and we're going to dive it down and across the eastern third. So watch as we go forward again into the upcoming weekend as we begin to see those changes. Look at those heights begin to crash there across areas of the high plains across Minnesota as that big old ridge sets up in there. I mean, very, very strong area ridge of high pressure right through here as we're going to throw some of that cold air out of Canada and toss it down into the continental United States, and you can see it grow over time as we go into early next week into Monday and Tuesday as those heights crash across the Great Lakes and that ridge kind of sits across the western portions of the United States and Canada, except for that little cutoff feature there across the desert southwest. So this is going to set up into Monday and Tuesday. The eastern third of the United States is going to be dealing with temperatures below normal right up through here, a little above normal out here on the west coast, obviously with that big ridge sitting placed right through there. And eventually that area will begin to move off the eastern seaboard as we go through the middle of next week. And we'll see things begin to improve, and things should begin to modify a little bit across the country, where temperatures will be at least fairly seasonable, I think, for the most part, as we go to the end of the 10-day European run. So now we're going to go down lower into the atmosphere, about 5,000 feet. That's the 850 millibar level. And we're looking at the temperature anomalies. It's a good mechanism here to kind of track that cold air as it comes into the United States. And as you can see across the country, we're definitely seeing above normal temperatures. Look at the Great Lakes. I mean, the anomalies way above normal for this time of year, to say the least. A little bit below here out on the west coast. But let's go ahead and track this as we go forward into time here again. We're going to deal with above normal temperatures really for most of the end of the week here across the east. You see that cold pocket here across the west. That's that cutoff feature diving in across the western portions of the United States. But again, most of the country looking pretty mild, especially the eastern 2/3. But watch what happens as we go through the weekend again, as we watch some of that cold air kind of swing in behind an area of low pressure across Canada. You see the dive coming in as we head into Sunday there. Some much colder temperatures across the areas of the high plains in through Minnesota, stretching down toward Missouri. And we're going to squeeze out this warm air. It's going to be heading on out as that cold air swings in behind a pretty good cold front here, and as swings on through as we go into early next week. So Monday and Tuesday, look at below normal temperatures here across areas of the Midwest, going into the Southeast, and eventually getting into New England. Notice we're still dealing with above normal here on the anomaly map here at the 850 level here across areas of the high Rockies and here on the West Coast. A little bit below, obviously, with the effects of that cutoff low across areas of the Southwest. So as we go through heading into Monday and Tuesday of next week, that's going into the 18th and 19th. You notice we're looking at below normal temperatures there. Many areas across the Southeast. Probably Tuesday morning we'll see frost and freeze advisories up, because we've had a lot of blooming taking place in a lot of areas, especially where those temperatures have been running well above normal. And then after Tuesday, we'll see this thing begin to lose its punch. It begins to move on out through time as we start to see things begin to warm up back here across the middle portion of the country as we wrap up and really wrap up winter and get ready to go into spring. And we watch another little cold pocket there coming in across areas of the Great Plains right through here, but it doesn't look overly as impressive, not nearly as strong as the one that we're going to see going into this upcoming weekend. So obviously, when we're talking about a change in the overall weather pattern, you're going to run the risk of getting some severe weather to fire up for you. And we're definitely looking at this as we look at our day 2 outlook. We're talking about the 13th into the 14th, as we're seeing a slight risk of severe weather there across areas of Kansas, parts of Nebraska, and areas of Missouri, surrounded by that green area. That's the very low risk, marginal risk of severe weather. But this greatly expands as we go into day 3. We're talking about the 14th and into the 15th, Thursday into your Friday, as you see the severe weather risk there running from areas of Iowa, stretching all the way back toward Texas, and stretching into parts of Illinois, into parts of Arkansas, as well as Missouri. The risk we're going to be seeing here is we're going to see strong gusty winds, possibility of some isolated tornadoes, as well as some heavy rains, especially across the southern portion of this down toward Texas and Arkansas, where they've been inundated with a lot of heavy rains from recent storm systems. So as we go ahead and track the precipitation here over the next 10 days, we're going to be focusing in here. You notice the precipitation out here on the west, okay? So we're getting some intermountain snows and some rains down here on the west coast. This is what's going to kind of divide into 2 pieces of energy. You're going to get that upper level feature that's going to dive into the southwest, and then parts of it's going to break out and kind of head out into the plains. And as it does so, that's what's going to set off the active weather a little bit later in the week. So let's go ahead and go through time here as we go out of Tuesday and Wednesday. Some beautiful days ahead across the eastern seaboard because of the mild weather there, with above normal temperatures and sunny skies there. But we're going to watch what happens here as we go throughout the day on Wednesday. Late in the day on Wednesday, you get some active weather across areas of Kansas and Missouri going right through here. And that'll shift up into the Midwest as we go through the overnight Wednesday and into Thursday. So we're talking the 13th into the 14th. You're seeing some active weather here across portions of Illinois, stretching back toward Iowa, or right through this region here. That'll be during the morning hours on Thursday. And then we'll focus down here toward the south later in the day with that daytime heating. You'll get some thunderstorms to blow up there. Boom, you look at there late in the day on Thursday. You're seeing some thunderstorms across areas of Arkansas, back back over toward portions of eastern Texas with some active weather there as we go into Thursday. And now going into Friday, you notice the rain's kind of settling in across the southeast. Don't want to forget, folks here into the Four Corners region, they're going to get abundant snow. Some very heavy snow totals are expected out here as that low is going to bury itself across the southwest and kind of sit there. We could see some heavy rains here across the southeast as well. Areas that have been inundated with heavy rains from recent storm systems. So flooding will be a concern there as well going in throughout the day on Friday. And then we can begin to see the big change take place. You notice the blue up here. This is the cold air starting to migrate here down toward the south. That's what's going to bring in the big change here with the much colder air mass plowing down into the southeast. We'll continue with some more chances of rain into Sunday as another little piece of energy kind of ejects out here across areas of the southeast out ahead of that cold front. Throughout the day on Sunday. Again, see some thunderstorms and some heavy rains there. And then that cold front's going to kind of sweep everything on out, and we're going to see very cold temperatures across the Great Lakes, some very cold temperatures right through here, moving on through. And then the upper feature that was been kind of buried back out here is going to slowly eject out as we go into early next week, as that trough is going to sit in there with below normal temperatures for Monday and Tuesday. Just plain old cold, frigid temperatures, maybe some lake effect snows possible across areas of New York and the upstate. So right up in here, you might see a little bit of snow as well with some of the wraparound from that storm system exiting. But then you notice that blue, that's the heights there starting to retreat and move on out as the temperatures will begin to moderate some. And then we'll see another round of rain coming here as what's left of that upper level low kind of pulls on out. And we'll see some rainy weather here across areas of the southeast once again as this active weather pattern continues. And we'll see yet another cold front coming in on in, although this one does not look as nearly as strong, nor does it appear that it's going to be charging into the southeast, kind of migrating mostly off into the northeast as we go into the following weekend, going into the 22nd and into the 23rd. So now let's go ahead and switch gears, and we're going to take a look at the equivalent rainfall totals here as we're going to see that precipitation that's going to be initially beginning out here into the west as that feature moves on in, and we're going to track it as it progresses across the United States and how that rain is going to develop as we go into time. You see initially you get a little bit of stormy activity here on your Tuesday and Wednesday with a little bit of thunderstorm activity there, but the real main stuff is not going to come in here until we get into Thursday and Friday. Look at the rain start to increase across areas of Iowa, heading into Illinois and through Missouri. Those blue areas, that's 2 inches plus of rain that you're going to see in there, and some localized readings a little higher than that, maybe up to 3 inches. And then it shifts on down to the south. Look at these readings down here as we go throughout the day on Friday and into your Saturday. Many areas here seeing 2 to 4 inch rainfall totals here across areas of Alabama. Those yellow areas there you see across portions of northern portions of Louisiana into parts of Arkansas and into Oklahoma. They could see the totals even higher than that, getting above 4 inches of rain. But again, we're going to take this throughout the entire duration of the next 10 days as we've got several systems coming in on top of this. So as you can see, we're getting plenty of heavy rains across the southeast over the next 10 days, and we're going to throw some more on this right at the end. So look at the areas here across areas of Louisiana especially. I'm going to highlight some of these. You see some of the 3, 4 inch, 5 inch rainfall totals in here, 4 inches there across northern Louisiana. So this is the area of concern across almost the entire state of Louisiana and across the southeast. This is going to be the areas of concern for additional isolated flooding potential. Now, of course, this out here in the Intermountain region with that cutoff low kind of sitting right through here, that's the rainfall equivalent. That's going to be measured, obviously, as snow totals. So let's go ahead and switch over and take a look at the snow totals for this period, especially for that portion of the country, which is going to see some pretty good snow. So again, we'll track this through this. You're going to get some snows that fall initially, obviously, from the Cascade Mountains down into the Sierra Nevada, into the northern portions of California. And we'll get some intermountain snows across areas stretching from Idaho into Colorado, Utah, Nevada, and Wyoming, obviously. And then we're going to pick up those snow totals a bit across areas of Colorado. Denver needs to watch out for that as we go into late in the day Thursday and into your Friday. But that low's just going to sit there, folks, and it's going to continue to dump snow across the Four Corners region. Skiers delight, to say the least. Steamboat probably going to get inundated as well, as we're looking at some pretty good snow totals there. And then we'll get a little bit of snows on the backside of this. Not all that impressive across areas of the Northeast, but you're going to notice the snows here across areas of New England, stretching down here toward areas of Ohio and Pennsylvania. Those are generally lighter amounts in here. So we're talking maybe a couple inches near the Great Lakes area, and maybe some heavier lake effect snows near Buffalo and up here toward upstate New York. But the real key is out here across areas of the Four Corners. Look at this. I saw 24-inch total there, 17-inch totals. A lot of this darker blue, purple you're going to see in here is going to be over a foot of snow. So a lot of areas here across the Four Corners of Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, as well as Arizona are going to get hit with some pretty good snows. Very much needed, obviously, as they'll need that rainfall equivalent for the reservoirs as we go into spring and eventually getting into summer. So as you've seen, we're going to see some much colder temperatures moving in as winter 2024 is going to wrap out with a little bit of a last gasp with some colder temperatures coming down across the eastern third or half of the United States. And we also got to track some potential for some thunderstorms out there. Not overly concerned about a big outbreak here, but of course we're getting into that time of year where you need to stay weather aware. So make sure you got the latest technology on your phones. Make sure you have your weather apps ready. And if you have a weather radio, make sure you have those ready as well as we get deeper into the spring season, as severe weather season 2024 really starts to ratchet up as we go into March and eventually into April. All right, that'll do it for this edition. And if you have not yet subscribed, if you liked what you saw, please consider it. Just again, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel and leave me a comment down below. If you got any feedback, you got any comments, you got some things, questions or things like that, just let me know. I'll be more than happy to answer them for you anytime, any place. All right, that's it for now. That's your latest edition. Until the next time, you guys take it easy, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye for now.